thing was standing still in the doorway of the kid's room. It wasn't a shadow. It wasn't an illusion. It had shape. It smelled like sulfur. And when it spoke, the voice came out hoarse and dragged out. You called me so much. I finally came. This is the Sloom Room channel, and today I'm bringing you a story I found buried in a Polish forum, posted in 2019 by a user named Tomasz. This isn't a movie script. It isn't from a book. It's the kind of thing you read and keep thinking about for days. Stay until the end, drop a like, and get ready, because this really messes with your head. It all started when I was a kid, around 7 years old. My dad had always been a man with an explosive temper. Anything that went wrong, and something was always going wrong, he'd let his tongue loose. But it wasn't regular cursing, no. He would invoke the devil. May the devil take you. Go to hell. May the devil spare me from this misery. Satan will come for you. These were phrases that came out of his mouth all the time, at breakfast, at dinner, when the TV didn't work, when my sister or I made a mess. My mom begged him to stop. Don't say those things, for the love of God. You attract bad stuff. He laughed, said it was just a way of talking, that it didn't mean anything. We lived in a small apartment in Krakow, in an old building with walls that groaned in the wind. My sister, 3 years younger than me, slept in the same room as I did. She was afraid of the dark, so we always left a little light on. But even with the light, she said she felt someone watching. I thought it was just kid stuff, imagination, until that night. It was a Saturday. My dad had argued with a neighbor because of noise and spent the whole afternoon grumbling, calling the guy every name under the sun, mixing devil, hell, demon into every sentence. At night, we went to sleep. I was almost drifting off when I heard my sister whisper, "There's someone here." I opened my eyes. The room was in semi-darkness, just the weak light in the corner. And then I saw it. It was a silhouette in the doorway, tall, way too thin, with hunched shoulders. It didn't move. It just stood there, still. And even without clearly seeing its face, I knew it was staring at us. My sister started crying softly. I couldn't move. It was like my body had turned to stone. The thing took a step into the room. The smell came with it, strong, burned, as if something had caught fire and been put out with dirty water. And then it spoke, with that voice that sounded like it was coming from inside the wall. You called me so much. I finally came. I managed to scream. It was a high-pitched, desperate scream, and my dad came running. He turned on the hallway light and came into the room. The thing wasn't there anymore. Only the smell remained, clinging, nauseating. My dad looked at us, annoyed. What is it, a nightmare? My sister was sobbing. I tried to explain, but he cut me off. Stop making things up. And he left. But my mom stayed. She sat on the edge of the bed, ran her hand through my hair, and whispered, I believe you. There was fear in her eyes. The next morning, my mom confronted my dad. She said he needed to stop with that stuff, that he was bringing something into the house. He got mad, said she was crazy, that it was just coincidence. But for a few days, he stopped. He didn't call on the devil, didn't curse anyone to hell. The house felt lighter. My sister went back to sleeping well. It lasted 2 weeks. My dad went back to normal after a problem at work. He got fired. And the anger took over again. The words came back, more intense, more frequent. May the devil take those bastards. Hell for all of them. My mom tried to intervene, but he yelled at her too, and the thing came back. This time it wasn't just in the bedroom. It was in the living room, in the kitchen, in the bathroom. Sometimes it was just the feeling of being watched. Other times, it was more. Figures that disappeared when you looked straight at them. Footsteps in the hallway when everyone was sitting down. Doors that slammed shut on their own with a bang. And the smell. Always the smell of sulfur. My sister stopped talking. She would just sit there, quiet, staring at nothing. My mom started lighting candles, praying, but nothing worked. I started having nightmares. I'd see that thing standing at the foot of my bed, leaning in, like it was smelling my fear. One day, my dad woke up with scratches on his back, 3 deep red marks running across his shoulder blades. He tried to hide it, but my mom saw when he took off his shirt. She screamed, "You brought this on us. You called it, and now it's here." He turned pale. For the first time, I saw fear on his face. That night, he sat everyone at the table, said he was going to stop for good, that he'd never say those things again. He apologized, something I had never seen him do. My mom cried. I wanted to believe him, but it was already too late. The thing didn't leave. It stayed. More and more present, more and more visible. Until one night, my sister woke up screaming. When we got to the room, she was sitting up in bed, pointing at the window. There was a handprint on the glass, on the outside. We were on the 4th floor. We left that apartment a week later. My parents managed to rent a place far from there. But the smell of sulfur followed me for months. And to this day, whenever someone curses by invoking the devil, I feel a chill run down my spine, because I know words have power, and some things, when called, answer. If you made it this far, subscribe to the channel and share this story, because there are stories that need to be told.